Give us a break. Don't try what you're about to see at home.
On this episode of MythBusters,
That's it, come on,
high flyers Adam and Jamie get caught up in a tall tale from the world of physics. They're asking, if birds in a truck take flight, does the trailer get lighter?
They're all flying.
And Carrie, Grant, and Tori get all bent out of shape on the biggest build of their myth-busting careers.
Jamie makes it look so easy when he does it.
If a boat traveling at 25 miles an hour crashes into a channel marker, will it split in two? Who are the MythBusters? Adam Savage.
Is everybody ready for diving?
And Jamie Hyneman.
Gets me all worked up just looking at it.
That was beautiful!
Between them, more than 30 years of special effects experience.
That was heavy.
Joining them, Grant Imahara,
Are you feeling lucky, punk?
Tori Bellici,
Somebody order some exploding pants?
and Carrie Byron.
High explosives and electricity. Woo!
They don't just tell the myths, they put them to the test. Okay, Adam, what have you got for us?
Here's the story. A guy's driving behind a big truck, and every time the big truck gets to a bridge, it stops, the driver of the truck gets out, bangs on the side, and then proceeds across the bridge. He runs into the truck driver at a gas station and says, "Why are you banging on the truck?" And the truck driver says, "Well, I got a load of birds, and they're over the weight limit of most of these local bridges. So whenever I get to one, I bang on the truck, they fly around, and my truck is lighter."
Clever.
So the myth for us is, if you're driving around with a truckload of birds and they take flight, is your truck lighter?
So the question is, will a container full of flapping, feathery friends lighten the load? For years, this simple concept has had big-brained boffins baffled. On campus, it's a conundrum that's frazzled physicists, not to mention the furor on the fan site. Sounds like a job for the MythBusters.
Should we start small or should we go for the whole enchilada all at once?
Well, obviously, eventually we're going to need a truck, but I think we can start right now by going out, catching a bird, building a chamber, and seeing if it weighs the same when the bird is sitting in it as opposed to when the bird is flying in it.
Okay, well, I got some pretty sensitive scales downstairs, and I can probably dig up a net somewhere.
Let's do it.
All right.
For this myth to take flight, our dynamic duo have to land some pigeons. And in a scene straight from Hitchcock, the birds appear from nowhere. Pigeon whisperer Adam and accomplice Jamie use a variety of snares, nets, and snacks.
The birds will be too fat to fly.
But their pigeon stalking comes to zero, and they realize they need some help. Enter Kate Martin, pigeon wrangler.
Brought you some pigeons.
Awesome.
Come on, you guys. 2 pigeons in an official pigeon carrier.
Look at that.
Finally, Adam's all pigeoned up and ready to begin small-scale testing. A clear plastic chamber will double up as a truck trailer, and when activated, a vibrating floor will encourage the pigeons to take flight. But this is your gig, Adam. Why don't you take us through it?
I've got my bird flying chamber here. It's got a closed top. The bottom is a screen, which I can vibrate by plugging it into this battery. The whole thing is standing on top of a very sensitive scale. First thing I'm going to do is turn on the scale, which will zero it out. Then I'm going to put the birds in. I'm going to see the birds weigh a certain amount. Then I'm going to turn on the platform, which will vibrate. Hopefully they'll fly around, and we'll see if there's any difference.
So, if the myth is true, when the pigeon gets some air, the combined weight of the chamber and bird will come down. Sounds simple.
Fly, fly, that's it, come on, fly. Come on, take off, take off, take off.
Now there's your problem. The bird just ain't flying.
Maybe we need to build a bigger chamber.
So plan B is a bigger chamber and better motivation to fly than a vibrating floor. What have you got, Jamie?
My current favorite is thinking about setting up a weed whacker-like affair, and we could put like a half a dozen motors so that there's just it's just kind of whizzing around. I mean, I can't imagine this would hurt them. I mean, it doesn't hurt you, right?
No.
For our animal-loving viewers, let's be clear. Adam's pain threshold is way below the pigeon's. So if Adam's okay, the bird will be too.
All right, so if you haven't been paying attention, my first attempt at the small-scale pigeon experiment did not work because the chamber was too small and the pigeon didn't want to fly. I have fixed those problems. I believe I'm going to hang this, use a different pigeon annoying technique, and I'm using a bigger tank so he can actually fly around. I feel like calling this guy Jackson for some reason. Now, I have a nephew whose name is Jackson, and I have another nephew whose middle name is Jackson. He doesn't remind me of either of them.
Okay, Jackson, you're up. Now remember, all you gotta do is what you were born to do. Fly.
Freak me out, but it's not doing anything to him.
Come on, come on, come on, Jackson, come on, come on, come on.
That's pigeon for fly. It's also desperate, because if they can't get Jackson to take off and stay airborne, this myth is grounded.
guys, check this out. I found it on the internet.
Whoa.
Is that photoshopped?
Apparently not. And supposedly the boat hit the channel marker at 25 miles per hour.
Seriously? That's split up the middle, like what, 15 feet?
17 feet, actually.
Ha! You know what I see in our near future?
Yeah, crashing boats.
Absolutely.
This tall tale of hijinks on the high seas has two halves, literally. We know it happened because it's been well documented, but the myth is in the details. Apparently, in this watery fender bender, the boat bifurcation occurred at 25 miles per hour. Fact? Or has someone got their facts bent out of shape?
So explain.
All right, this is what we do. We rent one of these speedboats, we take some insurance out, and we crash it into a channel marker.
And we tell them we're going 25 miles an hour.
Exactly.
Okay, why not? Well, the $350,000 price tag and a bad rep with insurance companies is why not. But all is not lost. Down at John Beery Yachts, our trio of thrill seekers get the opportunity to experience the power behind the powerboat. And Sean, their high-speed chauffeur for the day, has even heard of the myth.
So the myth that we're working on here today actually came from the internet. There's this photo going all over of a sports performance boat, not yours, but one sort of like that, that apparently was going 25 miles an hour and bifurcated itself on a channel marker 17 feet deep. Now, do you think that's possible at that kind of speed?
In my opinion, no. The photograph that I viewed, that boat had to have been traveling at a much greater rate of speed due to the damage that I saw.
Well, with a top speed of 150 miles per hour, faster we can do. But unfortunately, someone is going to quite literally miss the boat.
Rochambeau. Odd man out.
We're in the chase boat!
You gotta be kidding me!
With just room for two, it's all but one aboard. With engines and hearts racing, Brent discovers his voice hasn't broken.
Okay. There aren't any seatbelts in this thing, are there?
With the speedo approaching 100 miles an hour, no wonder Grant's nervous.
Wow. Great.
Are you trying to hold my hands?
No, I'm just trying to hold on to something.
By now, the guys at Donzi Performance Boats have realized Carrie and Grant can't afford the fuel for this trip, never mind the boat. And this myth investigation is anchored at square one. Next on MythBusters,
$10.
Tori takes the crash tests into his own hands, and then things get out of hand. The MythBusters are trying out for CSI. That's Crash Scene Investigation. They're asking, can you bifurcate your boat in a collision with a channel marker? The only evidence they have is this photo and accompanying reports that the boat was traveling at 25 miles per hour. To find out if this is possible, our team want to replicate myth conditions and impale their own boat. But with a brand new boat way out of their price range, our crack team of researchers has found the bargain of a lifetime.
Do you think it's seaworthy?
I don't know if it's seaworthy, but it's definitely crash-worthy.
We got this boat for a bargain. It was only $1,500. We're talking about boats that could be up to $350,000. So we were a little apprehensive about when it showed up, what it was going to look like. Turns out it's amazing. The structure is perfect. It may not have an engine, but we'd have to take that out anyway. So we're really, really excited.
No wonder Carrie is excited, because with the full-scale boat dry docked in the MythBusters Marina, the team can move on. And first up are some small-scale crash tests. And this 1/10th model is a great starting point.
Oh, I love this boat. It's my favorite boat. I don't want to crash it. Okay, we need to crash these boats over and over. I need to make several of them. So I need to make a mold of this particular model boat. I'll make a silicone mold. I'll paint silicone over this in 2 halves. Make another mold on top of that. Then I'll be able to pull it apart and lay up any material I want inside the mold. Done. Okay.
Meanwhile, Grant has been working on a rig to tow the models into a replica channel marker, simulating the mythical impalement impact. His remote-controlled winch and trolley is calibrated so the boat crashes into the steel pole in exactly the same place as the myth, just to the left of the bow. But hold on, where'd the H2O go?
So you at home might be wondering why we're doing our small-scale experiments on land as opposed to water, since ostensibly the myth is about a boat on water. This myth is about kinetic energy, a mass at a certain velocity hitting an object. And that we can certainly do on land.
So this is a dry run in more ways than one.
3, 2, 1, go.
No mythical split, just a glancing glow.
Well, the boat's intact.
And with everything to scale, there's only one thing for it. More speed.
Should we ramp it up?
Sure.
That
That was cool.
But despite increasing the speed, the impact and resulting damage peaks at glancing blow.
Oh, that was cool.
But Grant's frustrated, and his OCD kicks in. That's obsessive crash disorder. He wants to see some damage and hands Tori a challenge.
I will give you $5, and if you can ram this into the channel marker and break it.
Ooh, $5?
I'll give you $10.
That's a whole week's salary, and Tori can't resist.
$10.
Okay, so it can be done. And the team suspect the angle of attack was key. Like in the myth, Tori was aiming to the left of the bow, and he adds a turn into the pole.
If it can do it like that, that shows me maybe the turn is the way to go.
Let me try it again, just going straight, and see what happens.
With an attempted head-on collision, it's back to glancing blow. And with that discovery, the small-scale tests are back on track. To be sure, Tori once again adds that last-minute twist. And what do you know?
Well, that tells us a lot. It tells us it's better to hit the marker at a turn as opposed to just going straight into it.
Finally, a result. But it's been a long and frustrating day, and Carrie and Grant feel the need to let off some steam.
I'm so sick doing small-scale experiments.
Pete Townsend, eat your heart out.
Okay, so how crazy was that it took Tori smashing that boat by hand into the pole before we could find out that we need to turn at the last minute to split it?
You know, I think if these variables are just too tough to scale down. I think if we're going to test this for real, we need to go to full scale.
I propose we do this on land, because this myth is really about kinetic energy. It's a mass, which is the boat, hitting the channel marker with a certain velocity. And doing it on water doesn't buy us anything extra.
Yeah, and I think it'd be a lot easier to control on land.
Coming up, the bird in a truck story finally gets off the ground.
Look at that!
Among top-level physicists, it's a fundamental question with a hotly debated answer. If the weight of a truck full of birds is X, when the birds take flight, is it now X minus the weight of the birds? That is, does the truck get lighter? Cue the aerodynamicist to speak some geek.
Can you tell us something about the mechanics of flight that would apply to this? I mean, we know birds flap their wings, and there's lift involved, there's downward pressures. What's going on here that we need to be focusing on?
Well, the basic premise of all flight, whether it be a helicopter or a plane or a bird flapping its wings or just even gliding, is that it takes air and deflects it downward, and the downwards force on the air will in turn cause a reaction force upward that will help lift whatever the object is against the force of gravity.
Wait, a helicopter and a bird are actually using the same physical principles to fly?
Absolutely. It all comes down to Newton's laws.
So let's get this straight. To get airborne, you push down on the air beneath you hard enough to lift your own weight. And because the principle works for birds and helicopters alike, Jamie and Adam have an idea, which means the pigeons get a break.
We figure that a similar sort of a thing that might show the same phenomenon, if there is one, would be a little helicopter that we can control.
But it's not as simple as that. Flying a chopper in an enclosed space creates turbulence, making it hard to hover. So to run the bench test, Adam's built this rig, which will allow it to lift but keep it centrally tethered at the same time.
Excellent. 52.0. 52.6.
Adam has measured the weight difference of the container with and without the chopper. Now, the question is, when the helicopter takes off, will the chamber get lighter?
Hey, we got lift off! We got lift off! Look at that! The scale is not changing. 52.6, 52.6. Dude! That's liftoff! I so did not expect this rig to work. All right. I know that my helicopter weighs 0.6 of a pound. So if the myth was true, I should have seen that meter go from 52.5 or 6 to 52 flat.
But that's not the whole story. This myth is about birds, and trust Jamie to get straight to the heart of the problem.
We gotta try it in a truck or something close to it with the birds.
So it's full scale ahead, and after a MythBuster makeover, this trailer, standing in for the truck and the myth, will be full of flying birds for the final test weigh-in.
That's cool. We look like a little animal in a circus.
With the front fitted with clear plastic, Jess and Jamie are done, and it's time for a flight test. There are no scales yet, so this test is simply to confirm the birds are comfortable spreading their wings. If they don't, Adam and Jamie are back to square one.
Hey!
But it's immediately obvious there's plenty of room. So, final prep on the big rig begins. The flight motivators go in first. These rotating foam tubes are supposed to keep the pigeons in the air.
There we go.
We have liftoff. Next, the team makes sure there are no nooks or crannies where the pigeons can land and take a rest. So Adam and Jamie have finally got Jackson and Friend to fly in an enclosed space. Now comes the tricky bit, catching a flock more birds, letting them loose in the trailer, and accurately weighing them.
Coming up next on MythBusters, can you really crash a boat into a channel marker?
Give us a break. Don't try what you're about to see at home.
The story of the bifurcated boat has brought Carrie, Grant, and Tori close to breaking point. And to prevent this parable of split personality from sinking without a trace, it's land ahoy. With the decision to move on to terra firma, the team is on firmer footing, because by supersizing their crash test rig, they have a ready-made plan. As before, the reinforced channel marker is at ground zero. Grant's winch system will be replaced by a tow truck, and the boat trailer, modified with a smart wheel, will steer accurately towards its date with disaster. But there's one final piece of the plan, how to get that last-minute turn.
To get the boat to turn where we want it, maybe we could do is make a set of smart wheels at the front of the boat, and this will steer the boat wherever we want it to go. And then what we could do is put like a crossbar here, and we'll put a post in the ground, so when this bar hits that post, it'll turn the wheels into the marker.
Cool. Sounds good.
So it's a done deal, and the newly named Mythity Split ups anchor and ships out.
Say goodbye to the Mythity Split.
Its port of call, a familiar dockside destination with an impeccable Mythbuster pedigree.
We're back here at the Alameda runway. This is the site of some of our more famous myths. And in fact, I'm sitting on the X right here, which is going to be our channel marker. It's also the spot where our compact in the end smashed into each other.
Hoping to match that spectacular smash with a big bang of their own, the team embark on what's to become their toughest build ever.
Bueno! That's Spanish for good.
Carrie and Grant begin by raising the channel marker into position.
Now that we have the pole in place, the next step is to weld around the bottom of the pole to hold it in place to the plate. Then we're going to lay that heavy girder to the back of this pole and then triangulate railroad track to it. So it's going to be completely stationary and not going to move when we smash the boat into it. I'm just excited we got the pole in place. I'm gonna do my pole dance. Not what you expected, huh?
While Grant and Carrie have been cranking up the heavy metal, Tori has been trashing his trailer and adding the smart wheels. Now they can steer with a single cable tow, and when the hull of the Mythity Split hits the channel marker, the trailer won't be in the way. Things are going so well, Grant finds time to hang around.
The prep for the boat myth is going great so far. I just hope that the weather holds out.
Just had to mention the weather, didn't you? And as the rain gets heavier, the problems mount, and the work on the final stages slows to a crawl.
I'm so over this one. I'm pretty much over this one.
With Old Testament-style flooding, maybe they could rename their boat the Ark. Despite the tough conditions, they pull through.
Jamie makes it look so easy when he does it.
And push on for a tow test of the trailer.
I'm so excited. It works. It looks really cool. We got like a boat car, or a car boat. I'm not sure which one.
And with just the trigger to rig for the critical last-minute turn, it's all hands on deck.
We've mapped out exactly where the bow should hit the channel marker, and this, I'm drilling a hole right here for the trigger, which will turn the wheels, slam the boat into the channel marker, therein bifurcating the boat, or not.
So the build is finally complete, and Carrie and Tori celebrate. The boat is moved into position, gently. No one wants the wheels to come off now.
All right, now for the moment of truth.
At the opposite end of the track, Grant has the truck all hooked up and ready to tow.
So these are the chains connected to the tow truck. Got our shackle. This is a breakaway rope for safety. And then a cable. I think we're ready to take up slack.
And as twilight descends, they're wet, cold, but ready to put this tail to the test.
All right, take it slow and then take it up to 25 miles an hour on my count. Ready? Ready. In 3, 2, 1, go.
This is it. Remember, they're asking if a speedboat at 25 miles per hour plus channel marker equals this kind of boat-splitting destruction. We're about to find out.
5 miles per hour.
Can you guys go faster?
10 miles per hour.
But suddenly, disaster.
Did we lose a cable? Cable grab.
As Tori said, that's not good. The breakaway rope that's designed to break on impact snapped under the strain of the tow. And with this last-minute failure in the fading light, Team Unity is the first casualty.
So for all the other things where we tow something big into something else and it crashes, we use a breakaway rope. And, you know, there's a standard one that we've been using, which is a blue marine rope. We know its breaking strength is 6,000. But on this particular one, Tori really didn't want to use that. He wanted to use this. So, but tomorrow, I think what we're going to do is go back to what we used to use that was working.
Dude, we've never used the blue rope.
We always use the blue rope.
No, we haven't.
Yes, we do.
Not for the breakaway.
Yes, we do. No, we don't.
Seeing as Grant and Tori are rejecting each other's reality and substituting their own, this argument is on a road to nowhere. Let's come back tomorrow.
Man, those editors sure made bifurcated boat look easy.
Yeah,
I don't know about you, but that took a lot out of me.
I got shocked like 1,000,000 times.
At least 1,000,000 times. If you want to see how hard we really worked on bifurcated boat, go to discovery.com/MythBusters. Word.
After the break, our crash scene investigators get the crash they've been waiting for. And Bird in a truck sees Adam and Jamie ramp up the pigeon hunt.